What's your purpose?
My purpose at the core is to help men become their best selves. At the core, that's what I do. So it's all about personal development, empowering and encouraging people. That are at the core, and there are many different channels that you can do this. So I think purpose is the core, but don't get so stuck on the way that you go about things, because you can limit yourself in one avenue. So like, for example, it can be done through YouTube videos, so encouraging videos. It can be done through drama and plays, because I write plays as well. So I write plays about real life and kind of things and challenges and seeing people overcome. So the different funnels that you can do it, because I think with purpose, we can be real linear and think that it's just one particular thing that you do. Well, purpose has layers. So sometimes it starts off with like your interests. You go into your interests, you experiment with those. And then sometimes you can find that, like going back to the football example that I gave where I used to play football. It started off with football. I thought football was the thing for me. But sometimes when you pursue it, you find out that the thing that you're going down, or the path that you're going down, isn't necessarily for you. You like the idea of it till you find out that, you know what, I don't actually like this thing. But then it leads to something else. And then you do something else. And then once you've exhausted that, and you're like, this isn't it, it leads to something else. The layers to it. And then eventually you get to the pinnacle. So I think it's important not to just box yourself down into one thing, but just start off with what you're interested in and explore that. And it leads to something else.
But that is 100% true. Your purpose will continuously change, because your purpose is literally just the most important mission for you right now. And if you pursue it or if you don't pursue it, what's going to happen in months or years is that new stuff is just going to open to you. Some new doors will open to you that you didn't know previously. And so sometimes you're just going to be hit with some kind of huge realization that you've got to save the polar bears. And so, but you wouldn't know that up until you traveled to the Antarctica 10 years from now. And so you've got to hopefully have a purpose throughout life. Now, it won't be the same one, but as long as you've got something that's bigger than yourself, it's self-transcending, you're going to go take some action. Right now, your cost of inaction is not very much. You're not missing out on much, because why would you work hard? Oh yeah, if you put in overtime, you might get an extra £200 for that. It's nothing. You're not helping the greater good right now. You're not achieving something huge. So you don't really need to wake up early. You don't need to quit fapping, because why would you? Why wouldn't you enjoy yourself? You don't need to quit video games if you don't have a purpose. And every single one of you want to do the opposite of what I just said. You want to quit video games. You want to quit fapping. You want to quit binge eating. You want to be at the maximum, the apex of your self-improvement, reaching your potential. The only reason you'll be able to do that is when you've got a purpose. So Josh, what would you say to the guy who hasn't found his purpose yet?
Hasn't found his purpose. Don't beat yourself up. The first thing that you need to do is experience loads of things. So put yourself out there and try things. And I think it just starts off with what? Starting off with your interests. What do you like? Start there. Right, and explore, because there are many different ways that people find their purpose. So I've been reading the laws of human nature, and it talks about the different ways that people do. So some people get it from like just childhood inclinations. There's just something that they just gravitate to. So like, what's his name? The guy who made Apple, Steve Jobs. For him, it was just always technology. He knew it and he saw it and he's like, "Yep, this is for me." There was another Russian theater production guy. He didn't know his purpose till his parents took him out to the theater to see dramas and plays. And he's like, wow, this is for me. And for some people, they have to explore different things. There was one famous Japanese director who for like 30 years of his life, he didn't know what he wanted to do. So he did loads of things. He traveled, he tried many different things. And it wasn't until he was working at some random job, some production place. And he saw this director who was like directing a movie so excellently and eloquently. And he's like, wow, this looks amazing to me. Let me give that a go. And he became one of the best. I can't remember his name, but it's just about experiencing different things. I'm just pushing this up while you're young. Travel, talk to people who are excellent in their field, and just try things, because it's just by trying things that you find out what your taste for life is, what your taste is. So doing nothing won't help you.
It's so interesting that this is literally all linked, because listen to what Josh just said. Try things and speak to new people. You have to pick up this book every 2 seconds. Literally, you find your purpose as you speak to more people. Now, of course, your purpose could be something to do with the environment and the animals, but very, very likely it's going to be something to do with other people. It might be to do with yourself, and that's still a pretty good purpose. But the best purpose is when you help other people or something bigger than you, the environment or whatever. And you'll learn what it is as you speak to more people with better social skills. You'll be invited to more events, and you'll actually understand. Like, you know, you're going throughout your day, you end up making a new friend, and this friend does volunteering at the homeless shelter. And then there you go, you found your purpose. You're like, oh my God, I've really, really got to help these people. And every day after that, you're going to wake up with a drive, and it's going to feel like the best period of life so far, because you're finally doing something better than you. And this advice, I know it sounds pretty dumb, because quite literally our advice sounds like what your mother told you, which is get out your house and go and try new things. It's so cliche, but there's a reason why you hear this. You've heard this advice like 100 times so far, because trying new things leads you to that moment when you find your purpose, you find the hobbies that you're good at, you find your strengths. And that is so important as a young man.